Hi, Nicholas here. Welcome to the Akousunesis method. If you make your way over to my website, we're doing today Parent-Child Starter, PC4. Okay, anchor patterns. Okay, so what's an anchor pattern? An anchor pattern is a place in a song or a melody where a composer will use a note or a sequence of a note, so sometimes a little pattern, and come back to it. So it sort of becomes like a theme. And I call that an anchor point because it's always anchoring back to that point. And it creates some familiarity, can't even say that word, with the melody, right? And makes it a bit more memorable. I've been playing a lot of pop songs, and I notice that all the time. It's so common. It's one of the common things. All right, so let's start. So the first steps into improvisation, composition will involve anchor patterns, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, because these are beginner classes, right, we're going to start simple, right? So today we're going to start to learn. What we learned last lesson was, just to get some finger mobility and bringing both hands together. And we practiced, right, going up and down. This lesson's a little easier on the left hand, maybe not so on the right hand, but the left hand, we're not going to be moving up and down with this lesson. All we're going to be doing is playing a chord. So a chord, right, is just a stacked third. So it's just a 1, 3, and a 5. So if you have a look at the hand placements and the interval numbers, we've got 4 patterns today we're just going to look at, right? And I might put more anchor patterns in this after the video. If you always come back to the website, sometimes I will add more to the actual lessons, even though the lesson's been done. This page might still grow if I feel that that I could add more to this, and it might be more exercises, right? So let's just go back to PC4. So I've got 4 anchor exercises. I might add more here, and these will make their way into my book as well. So a lot of the stuff I create on the website, I update my book and release that as a new revision. So yeah, if you already have purchased my book, and any revisions I just send out for free every month. Okay, usually the first Monday. All right, so let's have a look at the first exercise. So the finger and placement is pretty straightforward. So we'll just focus up here on the exercises. So again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. In the key of C, it's a Western major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. I've placed the fingering here for the Western major scale too. So last lesson we just did this, right? So this lesson, what we're going to do is we can start to learn to play our scales. So we'll look at our scale first, and then we'll look at the anchor exercises. Now the anchor exercises only go up to the 5th. But I will show you the Western major scale today. And then when I add more anchor patterns here in the future, I might include them going right up to past the 5th. So Western major scale. So you can see here, thumb on 1, index on 2, middle on 3, right? Now when we get to the 4th interval, we've got a T again, our thumb. So the only way the thumb can actually reach that 4th interval is by swinging under. Right? Can't swing over. So what we do is we swing under, and then we line up all the other fingers, right? And then we just go index on 5, middle on 6, ring on 7, and back to the high 1. I don't show it there, but that's the high 1. We come back to the 7, 6, 5, 4 with a thumb. So we're just rolling back 3, 2, 1. Right? So that's just the Western major scale. And I've shown the left hand, so that's on the right here. And on the left here, it's pinky, ring, middle, index, thumb. Now, I do have video lessons on these scales. Lesson 4 is the C major scale. So you can go back and look at that lesson, okay? But as something extra to these parent-teacher exercises. But the C major scale, and then in that lesson 2, lesson 4 on my Akousunesis method lessons, which are up here, lesson 4, it's actually under the scales. So if you go here, go back to here, scales. So the first scale is key of C. Right? And I've got that in a PowerPoint presentation down here. But that shows you how to actually play the scale, and even the hands and everything, and how to join them. But let's get back to PC4. All right, so that's the scale on the left hand. And then we swing over, right, and we land on the middle on 6, which is here, and then index on 7, and then thumb on 1. And then we roll back, middle on 6, then we swing under, thumb, and then we line up the fingers and come back. And I won't get you to join them up today because these are still starter lessons, right? But you can start to practice with your left hand slowly. That'll be great. Today we're going to do what we're going to do is our anchor exercises, and these are a little bit easier because today we're going to keep our fingers here on just going up to the 5th. With the left hand, we've got a new symbol now. So we've seen these symbols before. We've seen this one, the other lessons, right? So we're rising and falling, right? So that means that. This symbol means play both hands together, right? And this symbol here is a new one that you've seen. It just means we're no longer doing a pattern of going up and down. It means we're going to play every note together, the double equal signs. We play every note together, just like that, and it's a chord. And you can see we have a 1, middle on 3, thumb on 5. We just hold that down, and we play them together means... All right, so we got the beginnings now of a song, right? Now we got the 3rd low, right? So middle C is here, right? It's roughly the middle of the piano, right? The actual direct middle is here. But middle C is here, right? And we're just down 1 octave with our left hand, okay? There's middle C. Right hand here. Now we can move the right hand here, but don't go any lower because the thirds start to sound very muddy when you go too low. And usually you drop the thirds and you spread your hands, play 1, 5 ones. But here is not too bad, okay? So we'll put a 3rd down there, right? Now with the right hand, we've just got 1, 3, 1. So that's all we're doing. Now this is an anchor point, right? So the anchor point is this pattern, 1, 3, 1. Now what we're going to start to do, you see this second pattern where we've got a 4 there. We're going to keep this as our anchor point. But we're going to add in some other intervals, and they can be any intervals, any of the white notes. We're not going to add in any black notes, right? We're going to stay in key. We're not coming out of key, right? So it's just the white notes. So you want to play evenly, right? So you want the timing and the rhythm to come naturally. You don't want to be thinking about it too much, right? You don't want to be, what is it? It will come naturally, right? Eventually, the more songs you listen to, the better the rhythm will come. But we'll just make it sound as even as you can. Now what we're doing now is we're starting to veer away from that pattern. So let's go. There's 1, 3, 5. 1, 4, 5, 4. 1, 3, 5. 3. 1, 3, 5, 3. 1, 4, 5. 3, 1, 3, 5, 4. Now we're not going to be thinking too much on when we're learning, right, and we're learning our intervals. It's okay to say them, and go 1, 2, 4, 5, just to be aware of them. But then we don't have to always be saying them and even thinking about them, right? Because we do want to just let our ear take over as well. But you're going to be hearing and going, oh, well, I know that's a 6, You'll get used to the sound of it. Right? So we can go back to our anchor point. We can go up to the 6 even. Now, there's no set rules when to play the chord. You might play the chord first, then hit this, like this. And just after it, so a lot of the times in rhythm, you'll play, say, a chord down, and you'll play after it. And then sometimes there's a lead note. It could be any lead note. So we have a lead into a chord, or a chord then the note. So in a song, and it could be you're singing something, there's a lead verse. Sometimes it's a syllable, sometimes it's the beginning of the word, and it leads in. So if it's a syllable, away, away. So it's sort of a lead in. Or sometimes a song will play the chord and then start singing. Yesterday, yesterday. Or sometimes they'll do it together. Yesterday I was. So that's something to be aware of, right? And so trying to get like reading timing and trying to get it right, it's not necessary. Your ear will take over eventually, and the more you play and the more songs you hear. But just to know those three things, that you have a lead-in note, you have and you have the on the beat, right on it, and sometimes just after. Just those three things is helpful. Anyway, so we're 1, 2, 3. There's our anchor point. And then we're coming back. Now, that anchor point, right, is a 1, 3, 5. Now, it's a pattern, right? So the pattern we have here is 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, right? Now, with these intervals, 1, 3, 5, we can mix it up a bit. Like, we don't have to go up and down like we do here, right? This just happens to be this pattern, right? And that's our anchor point. But we could change the order of this. It could be like 3, 1, 5, and that could be our anchor, and we'll make a new pattern, right? And it has a completely different feeling, right? Because 3, 1, 5, and so there could be a feeling of it still wants to go higher. The song might want to go lower, but they invoke different feelings, and they give you they help you decide whether you want to go next with the song, right? So the different patterns will make different decisions, will make you invoke different decisions in you. So So all I've been doing, right, is mucking around by adding that extra second, and up here as a 6 as well. And with my fingers, you just find the best fingers to find the notes. So if you've got a 6 then, and we're just looking here, right? Maybe today we won't put the 6 in, we'll put the 4 and the 2, I think, yeah. We'll just forget the 6. But you can just move your pinky up to the 6 if you want. So we've got a 4 here, right? There's the 4. So we've got 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 2. Anyway, we'll go to the next one because we actually put in a 4 and a 3. So I'm just getting used to, you're just listening to the sound. So we'll move on to anchor 2. This is where we introduce the 4, and then we introduce the 2 in anchor 3. So you can just, and we're just playing the same chord on the left, so the left is pretty easy. So this one is 1, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 1. Up and down again, up and down, right? 1, 3, 4, 5. And now we're just experimenting too with different patterns, right? And then now, normally with these, we just play this up and down like that. But the rule is, when we're mucking around with anchor patterns, there really is no set rule, right? Because now because it's an anchor pattern, it's implying we're being creative now over this pattern, right? So they still finger placement exercises, but an anchor pattern is saying, okay, we have an anchor point, but we're going to now improvise over it and start mucking around. But when we find something nice, we can write it down. And if we're experimenting, we might find a certain sequence is really pleasant to us and we like it, and we're not too sure about what we're going to put around it, right? So we'd write down that anchor point, right? And it could be like, you're going to put words to this later on, right? Because it's a melody, you're going to put some words. But you'll find something that sounds nice and you'll write it down. You've got no words in your head at this stage. And then later on, you might come up with some words, but you might find that they don't exactly match. And as we go on with the series, we're going to start to do composition. I do have composition series as well that you can go through as well. But so a lot of these other get a bit more advanced, you know. So while you're just starting as a beginner starter course, we will go through that with these courses. And we're starting to do that a bit today. So rather than having a bit of boring exercises, there's a purpose to these exercises. You know? So as I was saying, so you could start off with a pattern, right, that you like, but don't have the words yet. Then you come up with words. Yesterday, you might want to say, I was home, I came home. Or you could go, and then you could say, yesterday, I came home. And then, so what you do is, if you've got another syllable, you've got your sort of your anchor point, but you can add in another note. And a lot of the times they will either add a note which is like a semitone down, a tone down, right, or a semitone up, right? So it could be the third going to the fourth. I don't know. And they give you different feelings. I don't know. Bit different when I say, I don't know, I don't know. Like that. So either one's rising and one's falling, right? And it invokes a different feeling. And usually it's associated with, if you're rising, it's usually brighter. And if you're falling, it's usually more mellow, and sadder. And so it depends where you want to go with the piece. If you want to start to go a bit brighter, you would start to rise a bit. If you want to be a bit sadder, you might just bring it down a bit, so come down the other direction. So anchor points are a good starting point for composition, because you can come up with ideas and you can write down your own anchor points and say, well, I like this combination, and you'll just muck around, right, until you come up with a nice combination. And then later on, as we move on, we're going to start adding in other chords. So we're starting with a C chord, right? But we're going to be putting in all the chords of the C Western major scale, right? So all of them, and all the chords are here, right? These are all the chords, and we're going to go through that in time. So let's have a look at anchor 2 now, anchor 4. So we've introduced a 4. Now we're going to introduce a 2. Well, we've sort of done that, right? 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. So can you hear that feeling now? So it's 1, 2, 4. That 2, 4. We're on a C, but we're hearing these intervals. 2 and 4. 1. So we're hearing a 1, 2, 4. And it needs to go somewhere too, doesn't it? It's sort of wants to be resolved now to something. 2, 4, 3. 1, 2, 4, 1. No, or 1, 2, 4, 3. To the third, maybe, So you have that anchor point. So, right. So they're anchor points, and so that's up and down. So number 4 now. So we don't have an up and down. So this is giving you this is a different pattern, which is giving you where to go. So we start with the 1, 2, 4, and then come down to the 3. So that's your pattern. 1, 2, 4, 3. And that's all it is, right? 1, 1, 2, 4, 3. And that anchor pattern, if you're playing a song and you always come back to that anchor pattern, you can reinforce the anchor pattern by a certain choice of words, right? And if it's in a chorus, for instance, they might be the same words, right? Coming, or it might be the same pattern with a different set of words, but it's the same pattern, right? So you're sort of reinforcing in the head when you're writing a song something familiar, and it becomes familiar. So a lot of pop songs do that all the time, and a lot of successful songs play on that theme. It will give you an idea and get it in your head, and then they'll reintroduce it a bit. Sometimes you'll hear a hint of it in a verse. Sometimes you hear a bit of the chorus. You're about to play the chorus, but you hear a bit of that in the verse, and then they bring it back in the chorus, but then they add to it. So these things, knowing anchor points, is a very useful composition tool, and you can build up your own little patterns that you start with, right? So the other alternative to making music, which is just randomly doing stuff through some knowledge and then just working, and seeing what sounds nice. But this is more effective, and it builds up in your head these databases, and then of patterns, and they come out. So it makes you more creative, right? So they're like you're having a little sort of a foundation, basically. You're building up a foundation, right, to add to that foundation. So they're anchor patterns, all right? So, we had more here. I didn't even see that because it went over a line. I should make these a little smaller so they stick up. So, all right, so with this one we went up, right? And so it was, you could just have that as the pattern too. You don't have to have that as well. So there was a bit more to this one. So it was 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 1. I don't that really resolves home, doesn't it, right? 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 1. Now you could put words you could make up some words. I don't everywhere I find you. And when we're going to be doing more composition, when you're trying to think of words, you just muck around with words and syllables, and you make them work. You try to make them work, And then you start to introduce some, rhythm to it too. Sometimes you'll hold. You've got the pattern now. 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 1. You've got that pattern. But you might hold a note. I went to the garden. So you can muck around, it's so creative. It's such a creative process, and there's no set rules. And when you're trying to get things right on timing, right, it really breaks the creativity process, right? What you do first is come up with a melody, right? First, come up with the word combinations, and practice playing those and what sounds good, and leave the timing aside for now. Work on melodic timing. Not harmonic timing, the rest of the harmonization. You're just working on the melodic timing and the words. I was once, I don't know why, I was once your friend. So you work on that. And then once you come up with something that you like, you start playing that over and over. And then you develop a harmonic timing, to match it. So you work on the melodic timing, and a lot of the times the melodic timing, because they have to be in sync, right, will come. And then a time signature will appear in your head, and you'll be going, okay, well, that sounds good like this. And then you might start tapping your foot. And then you might extend a word a little bit to fit it exactly into some timing, down the track. And that usually happens when you start to orchestrate a bit more. You might get into putting stuff inside a sequencer, and start developing music that way as well. But if you always start with just the melody, just the words, right, then you can make it more exciting down the track. people who start with just beats, well, the world's flooded with just people making beats and people playing fast and just rhythm and rhythm and rhythm. It's flooded with that. There's such an opening for melody, and we can just concentrate on just getting good melodies, and then once we have the good melody, then we add it to the rest of it with the rhythm and that, right? So, a good song has a very strong melody, and then it has a rhythm that makes you, dance, or, rhythm's more for making you dance. Melodies are more emotional things, right? But it all depends on what mood we're in, right? If we want to be happy, of course we want to get some more rhythmic stuff happening. But you can always do that once you have a good melody. You can just add that later. You don't have to play it so slow. I tend to write things which are sad, but it doesn't have to be like that. Not all my pieces are like that. And, you can just make it more poppy. And, it's all got to do with the way you play it, and the speed of you playing it as well. There's a lot of factors, So this was quite advanced. I'd say for a beginner's course, there's a lot of advanced information here. But you've always got these basic exercises here where you can just practice and get it going, get your fingers moving. And you start using the pedal too. Hold down the pedal. No? Don't hold it all the time because we still want to hear the intervals. This gives you more, when you're holding the pedal, it's more of the tonality of the C. You're just hearing all the notes together, right? Which is fine, because that's an exercise too of picking the hearing tonality. So, but we're only in the first mode anyway. We're only Ionian mucking around. And when we play the C, right, that reinforces that mode, right, of what we're in. Okay, that's it for anchor patterns, and we're going to do more with anchor patterns, and I would do probably I haven't even done a lesson video on them yet, so I'll do a lesson video on anchor patterns as well. So, but the PC series are the first to hear about anchor patterns, right? So, where are we? So there's the PC series. Okay, so that's it. So the starting point is the Akousunesis School of Music, the website. So anything new will be here. Any new PC series will be here. And of course, the videos will be on my YouTube channel and my BitChute channels as well. And any fast tips and information, I'm putting this is going to be the fast tips section of I'm going to put information that I feel that's just vital to knowing how to play and by ear, and so I might put anchor patterns here too, just to describe what they are. But it's just quick information, so there's not a lot of explanations. Things I think that sort of are important, and with a little bit of an explanation next to them. All this information is in my book, and my book's getting updated all the time. So once you purchase your initial copy of my book, it's in pre-release version, so it's a PDF, and you can browse the book with the website with a web browser, and then any future updates you get for free. Right? So it's only $25 to purchase the initial book, and then when I eventually do a hard copy, once it's officially published in a hard copy, whoever's purchased my book, I will be offering the hard copy at cost price, meaning you just pay for the printing and the postage. And I'm not sure how the full price would be of the hard copy book, but I want to make it a nice, glossy, really nice book. But you can get the pre-release, and that's under development. I'm trying to make that book the best resource for learning to play piano by ear that I possibly can make it, and that's why I'm keeping it in pre-release, and then I can get feedback and I can improve it and just make it better and better and better. So a link to the book is on my website, so just on the home page you can just down there. You can just click the book and it just takes you to my store. And so it's a Ko-Fi store and you can just purchase it straight from there. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next PC5. I'm not sure where we're going to go with PC5. I think we will start to work with words too, right? Because I just don't want to just stick doing boring exercises, because I want a child to have fun straight away with it, right? And not to be focused on reading music, right? Just looking at their hands and getting their ear developed. Down the track, if they want to learn about how to read notation or other things, I mean, they're all open. They can do that. We're certainly going to be reading chords and how to do that. Anyway, this has gone on long enough. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay, bye.